Let me see if Angelini. All right, so yes, Apurv, no problem. So today is our second last session of this first series of the Beginning Bhakti. Uh, so for what we have covered, we started with harmonizing body, mind, um, and spirit, right? Through meditation, we talked about the mantra meditation, how the mantra meditation help to align our mind and body with the spirit. So that was the topic one. The topic two, we talked about the pursuit of happiness, that as a human being, we are always looking for happiness. Is that by chance or is that our nature? What we learn, that's our nature. Then we analyze that as a, that there is a difference between animal and humans. Even though we have the commonality of sleeping, eating, mating, and defending between animals and humans, but as a human, we have the power of discrimination, power to inquire, and that inquiry is why we want to be happiness, why we really want to be happy. So we started the inquiry. So we reached to the topic three, consciousness. So we started, okay, so we need to understand why we are seeking happiness. Is that nature coming from somewhere? So to understand that, we have to understand ourselves, right? And then we have to understand our relationship with the bigger manifestation, okay? And that's where we are going to discover our answer. So with the topic three, consciousness, we inquired that we are just not the body, we are more than the body. We are soul, and soul has the needs, wants that we haven't talked about yet, but we identified the soul, that, and then we talked about how to know whether we have the soul or not, right? What is the proof? So we went into the scientific proof, like from the near death experience, which is a topic which is discussed in the science, the past life memory. We looked into the logic, right? How to know that who I am. So we looked into logic. So we used 3-4 different aspects to understand that we do have a soul. Then the fourth topic was the mind. And why this mind is so important? Because you see, many of you, many of us, we are yoga practitioner, right? We have done different yoga systems. And the purpose of yoga is to, there are three aspects of the yoga, the definition I shared, that yoga is a process to align our mind so that we can discover ourselves. So mind is a medium through which the discovery would happen or the discovery would not happen, right? We may be on a totally different path altogether, just enjoying. So we need to understand what is the mind, how to manage the mind so that it becomes our friend. So that was the topic 4. The topic 5, then we understood the other concepts, which is the moods and modes. That was the topic. But what we talked about was the modes of nature. So basically, in this case, we are talking about how the whole manifestation is governed by the different uh, aspects of life. Like, so we could talk about the mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. We talked about how the mode of goodness brings the different quality within ourselves, like the happiness, the compassion for other people, gratitude. So the people who are in the mode of goodness, they realize that how they are connected with the whole manifestation, how they are connected with each other, what is their place in this society, and they are very aware and they take it as a duty. In the mode of passion, it is all about me, how I want to compete, how I want to get something, right? And I measure myself based on the material things which I have. Mode of ignorance, the people basically, I don't care, they like to sleep. Means it just, for them, life is continuing, right? So they are very similar of having the propensity of sleeping, eating, mating, and defending. That's where they stop. No inquiry. So we talked about how those 3 modes impacts our mood, right? And then we talked about the different example of the family who in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So that was topic 5. Last week we started bringing the topic of the law of karma. And one topic which always comes, that why these things are happening to the good people, why the bad things are happening to the good people, or vice versa, right? Vice versa, right? Why some kids where when they are very young, they are dying because there is no food, while there are rich people who are becoming richer. What is differentiate? It's not that the poor people want always to be poor. They want to work very hard, but they are not able to cross the threshold, either because they are born in a country or in a society where it's very hard to grow. Right? If somebody today is in Palestine or in Iraq or some other African countries, it's very difficult to live there. It's survival, right? So why that happens that some people are very opulent, some people are not? How to explain that? And you would look into all the philosophy of the world and you would not find a very good answer. The law of karma is the only one which can explain that why there are different kind of people in the society with a different propensity. Okay, so we talked about the law of karma. Today, we are taking, okay, so we understand the law of karma. When we do good, the good will happen. When we do bad, the bad will happen. It may happen immediately or it may take a long time, right? Now, the question is if I do good and bad things will happen, then what is the position of my free will? If you say that karma governs me, then what is the position of the free will? Do I have the free will or karma is governing me completely? Then what is the role of the destiny? If someone, oh, your destiny is to become a rich person, Bill Gates' destiny was to become a rich person. Then what is the role of karma? What is the role of free will? How to triangulate this? This is the topic for today. So you can see this as an extension of the law of karma, which is bringing the other facets which is coming within this paradigm and try to answer the practical question. So I'll take a pause. Um, Before we jump into the video, I just wanted to make sure that whatever we have covered so far makes sense. It's good. Okay. Hello, Rebecca. Nice to meet you. Um, Thank you for joining. Is this your first session today, Rebecca? All right. Okay. No worries. Thank you for joining. Hope the session was making sense. So we will, because if you're joining for the first time, you know the way it works. We are going to, so you see that all the topics which we have covered, we did a quick review of that. And now we are going to see the video which will cover this particular topic. It will be around 8 to 10 minutes. And after that, we'll start the discussion. So the majority of our learning happens in these sessions through the discussion. So we have some open questions which we talk about. Everybody share the points, and then through that will lead to more questions. All right. So I'm going to play the video.
Karma, free will, and destiny. Karma means activities performed by the living entities conditioned by the three modes of material nature. These activities are performed under the control and purview of time. The law of karma is similar to the scientific law of action and reaction observed in the physical system. There are good and bad, i.e., pious and sinful activities. Both these activities are binding, i.e., they have reactions. One may wonder, if a living entity is subject to the results of previous activities, then what is the scope for free will? Once having committed either a pious or whimsical action, the living entity would be bound in an endless chain of suffering, being perpetually subject to previous reactions. If every move we made was completely controlled by fate, destiny, or astrological influences, how could there be such a thing as right act or wrong act? For that matter, why should we feel regret towards something we were forced to do? And if everything is destined, why do various books of various faiths take so much trouble to offer valuable lessons to discriminate between the right and wrong and choose the path of right action? What is destined? What is not destined? By living a righteous life in accordance to the laws of nature, one attains a better position in the material world. As a result, one may be rich, learned, or beautiful. Thus it is destined whether one will be born rich or poor. learned or illiterate, beautiful or ugly. What is not destined, however, is how one is going to use all these facilities awarded, or how one is going to behave in difficult circumstances. That action will decide the future destiny. Herein lays the free will for the spiritual consciousness to exercise. One who is born with some assets and facilities should know that they are all meant for the advancement of our spiritual consciousness. Unfortunately, when a person is misguided, he misuses his high position for the purpose, sense, gratification, in the form of intoxication, illicit affairs, or gambling. In these ways, the plundering senses take away all the assets that the conditioned spirit has acquired with great difficulty. Here is a practical example to clarify the relationship between destiny and free will. A person purchases a ticket for an airline flight and boards the plane. Once the plane takes off, that person's decision to board the plane forces him or her to continue flying until the plane lands. He or she cannot change their decision now to, say, travel by road. Their decision is tied to the destination of the plane. Although he or she is forced to be bound by this destiny on board the plane, they can make many new decisions. They may accept the food and drink from the stewardess or reject it. They may read a magazine or newspaper, or they may sleep, walk up and down the aisle, converse with other passengers, and so on. In other words, although the general context, flying to a particular city, is forcibly imposed as a reaction to his or her previous decision to board the plane, even within that situation, they are constantly making new decisions and creating new reactions. For example, if they cause a disturbance on the airplane, they may be arrested when the plane lands. On the other hand, if they make friends with the businessman sitting next to them on the plane, such a contact may lead to a favorable business transaction in the future. Thus, our destiny does not hamper our free will. A sincere spirit engaged in the process of bhakti, loving devotional service, can easily overcome the previous conditionings by humble submission to the grace of Supreme. By being grateful and submitting ourselves to the will of Supreme, Krishna as Paramatma within the heart eradicates the reactions to all karma and cleanses the mind of all misgivings. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 10 through 11, Krishna says, "To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Out of compassion for them, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance." Destiny. My endeavor or Supreme's grace. Some people think there is no such thing as destiny. Everything is in our own hands. This philosophy is called karmavada. It is similar to the way a baby monkey holds on to the mother. The baby monkey holds on to the belly or back of the mother monkey, and the mother jumps from one branch to another. It is entirely up to the baby to hold on to the mother. If the baby's grip loosens, the baby slips. This kind of philosophy only leads to frustration. Mike Tyson, on becoming the world heavyweight boxing champion at the age of 19, declared, "I am the youngest champion, and I will be the oldest champion." In his 40s, he was trying to make a comeback, but he soon gave up after being defeated, saying, "I can't lie to myself anymore. I can't fight anymore," and announced retirement. Some other people think everything is determined by destiny. Nothing is in our hands. This philosophy is called daivavada. It is similar to the way a cat carries the kitten in its mouth. The kitten is completely dependent on the mother cat. This philosophy is usually used to justify laziness or irresponsibility. The truth, however, lies somewhere in between. The Vedic texts explain that these two ideologies, karmavada, endeavor karma, alone determines success, and daivavada, destiny daiva, alone determines success, are the two extremes of the pendulum of human imagination. In reality, success requires both endeavor and destiny. For example, in agriculture, a good harvest requires both diligent plowing and timely rains. Plowing represents endeavor, and rains signify destiny. Despite plowing, no harvest can result if there are no rains. Similarly, sometimes, despite our best efforts, we may fail due to adverse destiny. When people are uninformed about the role of destiny in determining results, failures make them feel hopeless. I am worthless and I cannot do anything well, even when they have the potential to perform well in the future. Consequently, today many people in the world are unfortunately and needlessly suffering from mental problems like inferiority complex, low self-esteem, depression, and self-pity. Krishna gives us hope in the Bhagavad Gita by pointing out that though we do not determine the result, we do play a significant role. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 47, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty.
All right. So we typically start with a icebreaker question. So the icebreaker question for today is, what is a typical day like for you?
I can go first.
Mm-hmm.
I really try not to have typical days. I have this theory that when you wake up and think of what your day's going to be like, if you can imagine the whole thing, then you shouldn't really have it. You should do something different, because once you've imagined it, you've had it. And I like having new experiences. So I really try to mix up my days.
Very good. Very good. Do you have some certain kind of routine in the day, or
Well,
waking up?
I try to, as soon as I wake up, put my feet on the ground and do 108 Kalabati breaths and then go from there. But I used to have a real routine, but my life was so routine. I was a lawyer and I worked so hard and everything was same. Like in the video, it talked about the two ends of the pendulum. I
Mm-hmm.
admit I'm kind of living on the other side of the pendulum, just at this early stages of retirement. I really want variety and surprises in my days. And it doesn't
Uh-huh.
always have the best consequences, but I really
Uh,
enjoy it. Maybe
very good.
routine will be nice again, but right now
No, no, very
I
good. Very good.
just
Very
have
good.
to have it.
You're living a life of adventurers.
Right now I am.
And Rebecca is saying, wake up, go to work, exercise, cook, sleep. And then, of course, that's a typical day, right? And then some excitement in between. Anybody else would like to share?
I'll share. I do have a little bit more routine. Unfortunately, I like how you you your day- something to do. I typically wake up early and go to class, do some meditation, then work or cook, take care of my child, work, come back home, their class. I'm usually doing classes and various classes for many things. Um, Probably more meditation, cooking, sleeping. So more routine, and then it gets more exhaustive depending on the day.
Thank you, Bree, for sharing. Anyone else? I can share. For my day, again, yes, my mornings are very busy. Um, so I do my meditation practice, and morning is a must, because if I don't do in the morning, then the whole day I'll be trying to find the time to do it. So morning, I try to wake up early, try to do my meditation, and then get ready, and my meetings start from 7:30. After that, of course, because typically I work from home, uh, thanks to COVID, still I'm continuing that way. because I'm at home, then my breakfast, other thing, then work, and in between, whatever is required for my, I try to find the time. I do some reading or things like that. Weekends are pretty busy with all the different activity I do. So that's little. So what is typical in the weekdays is not a typical in the weekends. Weekend typically is a little different. So that's how it varies. Anyone else? All right. So we will start with the questions. Bree, you would be driving it? Yeah, okay.
Yes. All right. And so for those who are new or newish, what we do after listening to the video is there are a few questions that we discuss to reflect on what we've heard, just to see, you know, what reflections you have and what insights. It should be more of an open conversation. And so participation and interaction is most welcome. I'm a very talkative person, so please don't make me talk to you all, talk at the screen for so long. I beg you. So the first question that we have is, what is the law of karma? What did you learn about the law of karma? And what did you appreciate, or what questions do you have about that?
If no one wants to say anything, I will. I think the law of karma is kind of like the law of physics. To every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. Like what we do in each life carries forward into our next life and kind of creates our destiny. And it's not an absolute, like, we, not that we can't change anything in this life. Of course we can, but the basic setup, it's only fair that our basic setup in this life comes from our actions in other lives. It would be kind of unfair if it was just a lottery. You got bored like on a roulette wheel, but no, we like get born on kind of a continuum of our progression. And so in this little life, it's fun and interesting because there's so much diversity, but over and mystery and like, whoa, what's going on here? And that makes it fun. It lets us play this divine play, this wonderful video game that we're immersed in. Or I mean, it's all metaphor. I think everything is metaphors. The Bhagavad Gita is a big line, the metaphor for things. But it's kind of what makes each life fair from the beginning, while kind of also being interesting because it seems kind of random when we're plopped into this.
That's a good point. So you made a few good points about karma creating the destiny that you have in your next life, which is something that was, when I learned about karma, completely eye-opening for me, as I only understood karma prior to my practice in bhakti as being something that would be more of an immediate thing in this current life. And so doing something good, or if I were doing something bad, I would understand karma to have some kind of effect on this life, and did not really understand what the next life, if there was a next life, how does that create destiny in this life, all that stuff, which helped me a lot because I was not born in the best of situations. So I was like, oh, maybe I should maybe I should change my actions, right? And so that's, that was a big epiphany for me when I first learned about karma, completely different from what I was raised on in my more religious background. So I appreciate those. Is there?
Funny,
Yeah.
recently, I went straight from like reading in the Bhagavad Gita to a friend's Dungeons and Dragons game. And it was the first game. I haven't continued, but it was the first game, and we were all figuring out who our characters were, and then we began to playing the game. I was like, oh, that's kind of like right before we're born, what happened? We figure out, and I think I personally believe it's kind of us in condition in conjunction with the divine mind. Like before we're born, this would be a great setup for what I need to learn in the next life. This is what I'm ready for. And the divine mind's like, well, you were pretty shitty in your last life, so yeah, I get what you're saying, but this is your starting point. And then boop, you're in your life and start playing the game. And that's kind of separate. And so that when you get in the game, it's surprising and fun. That first game of Dungeons and Dragons is all about planning. But then once you've picked what that next thing is, you're plopped in the game, and those are the weapons you have. Those are the skills you have. That's the name of your character, and that's what you do. But you get to choose all along in the game, but the setup is predetermined, and you sit around with your friends and think about like what would be what would be fun this go around. And I feel like I had some input, in some part of my soul had some input of like, this is what I want to learn on my next life. This is where I'm at. What do you think? Heaven or whatever. Just a theory.
No, I mean, that's really good insights. Especially when it comes to, this is what you have now. These are the tools that you have. Now, what are you going to make of it? Because even in those types of settings, every single type of character has, they could create their own path to winning the game, which is what was a direct correlation between karma, which could be seen as your destiny, and destiny. So, the karma is making making the best out of a bad bargain. And, sometimes, especially in some yoga practices, they would say that anything that has to take birth, we're making the best out of a bad bargain. And trying to, achieve or overcome, whatever caused us to have to suffer birth, death, old age, and disease again. And so that's a really good correlation, actually, because a lot of those times, I mean, there's always one character, right? That's like, oh, you have all these things and they have, really a really good setup, but they're still in the same situation as everybody else. So, and then some people have like nothing. So they're in the worst situation, but they're still in the same situation, just in the worst condition. And they can still overcome it, though. Their destiny does not have to be that same. So that's a great correlation. I appreciate that a lot. Let's see. Ethan, and Approve, what do you all think? What is the law of karma, and how do you reflect on that?
Yeah, I feel like most of my conception of the law of karma has kind of been covered by what we've talked about. I guess one thing that, at least through readings that I've done, that stood out, that I kind of enjoy, that shifted my view of karma, is recognizing that, similar to what you were saying, some of the things that happen in our lives now could be, due to things that we had done in previous incarnations and that kind of thing. So trying my best to do the practices that can cleanse those past karmas and that kind of thing as best as I can in this life. Hopefully gearing up for whatever future lives I might be taking on.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really good way of thinking about it. Like, I mean, it's really hard sometimes being in the everyday, which is why I appreciate Deepak's question. When we're in the everyday web of scheduled time, what we're doing in our scheduled time, we forget about these things. And so it's really a good situation to have this knowledge that, yeah, you know, a lot of what our destiny will be in our next life is based off of some of the actions that we do in this life. And then you have a chance to make your situation better. That's really good karma, whether, you know, you decide to take on a little bit of practice or a lot of practice. And even just knowing that information is really good, you know? So it's like those little tools that you get in those video games that you're like, oh, I'm going to use this for later, you know, so very good. How about you, Approve? Hope you're feeling well, by the way, or better.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, kind of similar to what Jason or everyone basically said. Like, you know, every action creates some consequences, and then those consequences will return in the future in this life or in a future life. But I guess one question that sort of came up as I was reflecting is we all say like every action, and to me when someone says action, it's like a physical move, like doing something. But does action also refer to, like, what if I think poorly of someone, or if I do that, like, would that result in something? And like, is physical action, doing a bad physical action, worse than thinking about doing a physical action? It's like, that makes sense.
It does make sense. And that's a really good question. And so there are levels, definitely. If you're thinking of something, there are four, I think there are four, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Deepak, but there are stages of action. The first one is thought. So a thought comes into your head, and these thoughts can come from anywhere, in any circumstance. You just get these thoughts. And if you practice, you know, there are some meditative practices that you can learn to prevent that from going any further, right? Is a thought is like, oh, that's a thought, then it goes away, right? But if you go farther than a thought, then you begin to create something called a desire. A desire to not do that, a desire to do that. With that desire, if you desire to do something and that desire tends to be something that is negative, that starts to grow into action. So it starts with a thought, it turns into a desire or a non-desire. So if it's a non-desire, then it's like, oh, you know, you're not going to do it. If it is a desire, if your thought turns into a desire, then there will be some way that you will start to act on it. Then that action will become karma. So that's a very good question. And then even in some of the yugas, then I'm sure that'll be in further, so I won't get so into it. But yeah, in earlier times, thoughts were just as bad as actions. But because we're in a not so good yuga, thoughts are not as bad as actions. You still have the opportunity to either eliminate that thought or you know, you end up developing a desire that will constitute some type of action that will cause you to perform that activity or action. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
it brings up a question for me. That's really interesting. Does that mean if we can like dispassionately think about stuff that we're like, we can, as long as we can keep our desires neutral, is it okay to think about anything and you're not going to get karma, as long as you're just like, oh, like I wonder, wonder how that would play out? Is that what you're saying? If it's with action when you start getting karma, and thinking's okay, but it's risky if you're going to create desire, but thinking's kind of okay?
Well, so with that, I would not advise to invite, you know, any thought in, right? What I'm saying is generally what happens is it could be any time, any moment that a thought can come into your and these thoughts can develop into a desire, and that desire create an action. If you do meditation, specifically the one that we do with our mantra meditation, that neutralize these thoughts, and then you won't be as attractive to create any desires, because your desire is based on concentration on one specific thing. And so those desires, it won't happen. And that's protection. That is what you're wanting. You don't want to create a lot of desires, because desires are what create action, and action or inaction will create karma. And you don't want any karma. You don't want good karma. You don't want bad karma. You don't want any karma. Karma is the bank of spiritual currency that will either allow you to enjoy or be distressed. And so you want to be above that. You want to transcend the above that. So, what I would say is, instead, if you have a thought, don't feel bad about it. I would try to practice mantra meditation so that you can neutralize that, so it doesn't become a desire, and then you won't be in a situation where you're acting upon, some type of action based off of a big desire, even a small desire. So I would say, don't beat yourself up about it, but also you should also be practicing things to neutralize these things, so that you're not putting yourself in a situation where desires creep up and then your activities go any which way.
The specific thing that what your prior comment reminded me of is, on the way up here driving from Salt Lake back to Seattle, and went to this festival in between in Portland. I started playing this game, and I was listening to the Maha Mantra. I was listening to all the different versions that I love, and I started looking at cars and just making up who was in there. Like, I wonder who's in that Prius, and thinking about it, and then thinking about who the truck driver was while listening to Maha Mantra, and then thinking, I wonder if they both stopped at the rest stop and started talking, what the conversation would be. And I didn't care about it. I don't think it was creating any desires, because I was just driving along. But it felt kind of instructive, imagining how different people interact and how different combinations work. But I'm like, is this cool, or am I toying with people, or like, is this? I really enjoyed it. It made time go like that. Just thinking, imagining who was in each car and how they might interact, and how I might interact with them if I met them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I think a lot of the times when I talk about things that are desires, I'd be like, say the same thing. You're driving, you pass this music festival or something like that, and you see something, and it's all bright colors, and it sounds like, a lot of fun, and the beats are bumping, and then you see people like dancing around. A thought could pop in your head, like fun, and then you're like,
And if you pull over, that creates karma, I think. Is that what you're saying? But if you just keep going and like, I wonder what that's like, and keep going, maybe it doesn't, or does it? That's what I'm.
yes.
Is it actions only that create karma, or do those thoughts can create desires and create action, which then create karma? But are the thoughts innocent? Is it innocent to think about things, but somewhat's dangerous? You need to be careful what you're thinking about, because it could end up in an action.
Well, people should be careful about what they're thinking about. Like, this is a normal, everyday thing. It's very natural to have thoughts, I think what we should concentrate on is that we should have knowledge that thoughts can create desire, and desire can cause you to have a negative or balance in your karma bank based off of what actions you're going to do. So it's about a bunch of knowledge. Sorry.
Cool, thank you.
So if I can, let me, while Bree is coming off, let me add a little bit. By the way, it's a wonderful question, which is thought provoking. So there are three actions. The karma can be created by three things: our actions, right? Our words. If you say bad things or good things, that will create the karma. The third thing is the mind. So when Bree is telling, in this age, what she's talking about, this iron age. You have heard about the golden age, silver age, bronze age, and the iron age, right? There's 4 different ages. This is the iron age. In this iron age, because the people are of less intelligence, so there is the law is that just having a thought doesn't create the karma. So just having a thought doesn't create a karma. What Bree is emphasizing is it's a risky thing. Oh, I know that the thought is not creating karma, but if I keep dwelling on that, what's going to happen? It will become a desire. And that desire, as I keep dwelling on the desire will become strong and I'll end up doing that action. And once I do the action, there is a karma, right? So what she's talking about, yes, there is no karma just thinking about it. But we have to be very careful that we don't take it further because the desire to sin is in everyone's heart. Okay. And that's the reason you see that in certain faith, people go and seek forgiveness for their sin, but then the desire is there. So if I seek forgiveness, I will be forgiven, but because desire is there, again I will go and do the sin again. So desire doesn't go away.
Mm-hmm.
And only in of all the yoga system, Bhakti Yoga is the only one which provides a way to deal with the desire to sin.
Mhm.
Okay, Bhakti Yoga is the only yoga system, and this is based on the book. This is not something I'm making up. Okay, is the only one which provide the process by which one can eliminate the desire to sin. So desire never goes away. So we as a human, we always desire. What happens? We replace our desire to sin with the desire to please the Supreme. Right? So we are replacing our desire to sin with the desire to please the Supreme. So we are dovetailing our desire for the higher cause. You see how the science is working?
Mm-hmm. And even like from that moods thing, sometimes it's even we have to replace our desire to do good with our desire to just do what we're told to do by the Supreme. Like even the desire to do goodness is better than the desire to do sin, but it can also keep us from. I think that's what we learned a few lessons ago, right? That even
Yeah,
goodness,
yeah, definitely. See, desire to do good is lot better than desire to do bad. But
right?
if the desire to do good is coming from the platform of what's in it for me, okay? If I do make this donation, $1 million donation, Jason, you're planning of making, right? And if you make that donation, you think that, oh, people will realize that Jason is a very charitable guy, and you will feel good that, oh, I am Jason, see, I donated a
Yeah.
$1 million, right? So that itself, that thing is not good for our spiritual progress, right? So what Bree is telling is we have to do this making a charity for $1 million is a great thing, but I would like to do this charity because this the way I have to think, this money belongs to the Supreme, because by the will of the providence, I did the effort and all the things aligned, and I made so much of money, and now I have extra money, and I want to do. So I'm being very grateful to the providence that he has given me this money. Let me be charitable and let it be used for the benefit of humankind, especially for the benefit of people for their spiritual growth. Right. So with that intention, I am making that charity. I'm not thinking what's in it for me, because when I
Right.
think what's in it for me, then it becomes pious activity. And in this case, pious activity means then you have to go and live that pious activity basically.
Mhm.
Makes sense, Jason?
Yeah. What I meant by like even the desire to do good can lead you straight is like when Krishna's like, go kill your relatives, and Arjuna, he's like, no, that's not good. And Krishna's like, but it's what I told you to do. Go do it.
Oh,
Like
it
that,
well,
even that desire to do good, right?
that is
Or
that
well,
is
I
a much
understanding
deeper
that.
question. Yeah, go ahead, Bree. You are trying to say something, Bree. Go ahead.
well, because so Arjuna was not saying, "Oh no, that's not a good thing." It was more so Arjuna was saying that, "Oh well, if I kill all my relatives, then who's going to enjoy the kingdom that I defeat?" So he wasn't considering, oh, it's a bad thing to do this. He was like, well, if I defeat all of them, then who's going to be there to celebrate with me when I get all the kingdom? So he was thinking about what was in it for him,
Mm.
his
Mm.
pleasure. But what Providence was saying is that this war was supposed to happen, and the Lord wanted the war to go away. And in order for the war to go that way, he was using Arjuna, who was already known for being the best the best person, the warrior that was out there was going to be the one that was going to win this war that was already destined to go this way. Arjuna was like, well, if it's destined to go this, why should I do it? How am I going to enjoy the fruits of my actions with everybody that I love if I defeat them? Wasn't this is bad because it's not that we should kill. He was just using all of his knowledge to kind of get out of it.
Right.
Like that.
And see, this Bhagavad Gita topic, I would love to talk when we go a little deeper on the Bhagavad Gita. But for your just for the benefit of everybody, there Arjuna gives 4 different reasons why he doesn't want to fight, right? And all those things were coming from the platform of the body. That if I do this, I'll get the sin. If I kill, then the progeny will be lost, right? And if I kill everybody, then how I'm going to enjoy? So he gives those reasons. All those reasons coming from the platform of the body. But then there's a higher principle. So there's always some higher. So when depending on the situation, we have to take what principles to apply. So Bhagavad Gita gives this different set of principles which needs to be applied in a situation. Okay, so is the so in ultimately then in chapter 2, then Krishna says that we are not the body, we are the soul. Then Arjuna understands that why Krishna is telling that you should fight, even though he will be in the fight, he will be killing his own cousins and his family members, but there is a higher purpose, which is the making sure that dharma is preserved, and dharma is for the whole manifestation, for the society. They are fighting that kind of a war, right? So that time the familial relationships takes lower precedence than the relationship with the whole manifestation. Okay, so that's what the Bhagavad Gita. So right now, after we cover all these things, definitely we'll be going to the Bhagavad Gita. We'll have a lot more discussion, but it's a very good question. These are all related questions, Jason. So when you are bringing it, it is contextual. It is definitely contextual.
It's good questions. That was a really good question, Approve. Please ask more. I'm really. I'm gonna go to question 2. So, what role does our free will have in shaping our destiny? What do you think? What role our free will has in shaping our own destiny? Any ideas? We touched on it already a little bit.
I guess what's coming up for me is, you can use that free will to choose right action or wrong action. Is this something that brings positive karma or negative karma? And I guess, I don't know, I feel like acting, I don't know, I'm still gathering my thoughts.
Okay. I like what you started so far. Understanding that your activities or your actions create some type of karma, good or bad, if that's where you want to go, right? So if you are like, oh yes, so I've been growing up really, really poor, and had a bad hand in this life, maybe I will do some pious activities so then I can have a really good hand in the next round. What do you think? Or do you think that we even have free will in order to shape our own destiny?
Yeah, I'm still unsure on that one.
What the video said that we play a really good integral part, because there's one practice that thinks, we have no free will, it's all destiny, right? And that was the analogy of the big, say the lioness carrying their cub, and it's just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna take what I'm gonna go wherever life takes me. It doesn't matter anyway because my destiny is this. So it tells you that, oh well, whatever you do, your destiny is already gonna be this, and it does not give you any course of, working towards, bettering your situation, it said constitutes laziness. And then there's one where you have all the free will, and everything that happens equals your own actions, and there is no destiny, that you create your own destiny, which is on the opposite. So they're saying that we're in the middle. I like putting things into formulas. So my thought is intention plus choice equals new destiny. All right. Yeah. Formulas are good, especially in this, spiritual life is a science. And so I think that's really good. Approve. But in the video, it says that we're in the middle. So there's no, I'm going to take my life wherever it's going to take me. And then there is also no, I am the person who creates everything, and the destiny is up to me. Because that will end up being complete frustration on that end. And then this one will end up being complete laziness. So we're in the middle somewhere, right? It's what the video said.
Yeah, I really like the analogy of the airplane. Like, we're on the airplane. We're already on the airplane. We're supposed to go someplace. Our past decisions led us to this life, and we're headed someplace. But you can really affect a flight. Like, you can get drunk and vomit, and it's not so fun for everybody. I mean, you could even, I guess, shoot the pilot or something, and then all disaster. You can be like this cheerful person on the plane and make friends and be helpful and clean up after other people. And then it makes everybody get there happier. And you might make a friend along the way, or and arrive more cheerful, or you can arrive drunk and tired or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd never thought of that before, but I really like that analogy from the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have so much free will on the airplane. There's so many ways to do it. And people often don't realize that. Like, there's people on the plane, they're just like, okay, I'm here to suffer for a few hours. But you can be like, no, I'm not. I'm here to like have fun and make the ride better for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll arrive better too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I see your hand is up, Approve.
Yeah. I also really like the analogy of the airplane, but I have another question that came up. When I book my flights, right, in my boarding pass, it says what my destiny is. But in life, when I was born, I didn't get a boarding pass that told me what my destiny was. So how does one go about finding their destiny?
Oh,
that's a really good question. Yes. Well, yeah, that's a really good question. I think because everybody has their own individual story, and in the context of bhakti, because I'm an aspiring bhakti practitioner. So in the context of bhakti, everybody has their own special individual relationship and stream, and that is something that is up to the individual on what that is, and how they're going to get to it. It's just a matter of your good fortune to get knowledge that you have something like that. So you might not have a boarding pass when you are born. I didn't. At least I didn't remember that boarding pass. I had it. I didn't remember it,
he lost it on the gangway.
Way to the material world when I was born, I forgot all about it, because here's the thing. When you're born, you go through trauma, one, when you're born. That's a misery, that's a suffering. But then you're a baby and you forget all about the sufferings that you had, that you were praying to get out of to the Lord. So you're suffering in the womb and you're like, Lord, I don't want to go through birth and death anymore. I promise I'm going to serve you this time. I promise. And you're doing this in the womb, because of the suffering that you're going through. And then when you're born, you go through that trauma of childbirth, and then you have these parents who are either really nice, like, oh, I love you, blah, blah, blah. And then you forget all about it. You're like, oh, I'm in this nice family. I'm in this nice place. I have all these friends. I have this mom, and I have all these things, and you forget all about it. Or you could go the opposite. karma, you could have all these treacherous things happen to you in addition that you're concentrating on and forget about it. So based on good fortune that comes to us, we start to associate with devotees of the Lord who remind us that we have forgotten our promise, and that promise is to find out our own relationship with Him. And so once you can understand and accept that you're not the body and that you're a spirit soul, and that spirit soul is a minute part and parcel of the Lord, and you have their own relationship with Him, is when you can start to understand more about how your story is going to look. And that's in the relevance of bhakti, because I have to stay true to that. And so, does that answer your question, Approve? Or
So
do you want to?
let me add a little bit actually. So in the case of the flight, right, there is a boarding pass. For us, the boarding pass is our body. Okay, so boarding pass is our body. Depending on what my previous karma was, my bank balance of karma, what my desires are, okay, based on that, I'll get a certain body. And that body then become an instrument for me to come. And so just like in the flight, you have a destination that you're taking a flight to go and fly to New York. Now I have taken a body which is coming with the precondition. Deepak will go and have this quota of happiness, this much of a quota of happiness. He will, and then Deepak is going to in that. Okay, then what is my material opulence will be. So those things are certain things. All those parameters is decided, which is my destiny, right? What I'm going to, what I kind of misery I'm going to suffer in this, right? So both are decided. That's called a destiny. So that's the package. That's the boarding pass. Okay, that's what it's taking to me. But while I'm here, and this I'm going to give another analogy, which will just like a plain analogy, but it will make more sense in this context, which is so I'm living in a house, in this body, with my family, in a house, in a physical house, or the context, right? So I'm living in a house. So that's um, um, so when I say in this analogy, the house is just not my physical house, but it is the house of my life. While I'm living in this life, I am building the next house. I'll repeat. I'm building the next house because the action I'm taking while so I have my destiny that okay, Deepak will become a millionaire. Deepak will have a wife who will be like this, and Deepak is going to have some child who will be like this, right? So those things are distant. But then how I'm making the decision, how I'm interacting with them, am I fighting with them? I'm becoming a cause of their elevation. That is determining my next body. And then I have a desire. Let's say I want to enjoy a lot. I want to be even like not 1 million. I want to be a billionaire, right? I have those desires, strong desire. I'm working. And let's say I'm doing all this good piety. Then my body, I'm forming a body where I will be taking a birth into a rich family, right? Something like Bill Gates family or somebody richer family where I will have the opulences to go and live that, right? So the law of karma is governed like that. But then when you go on the path of akarma, so this will always keep us on the cycle of life and death. So always we'll keep getting a new boarding pass. But human life is considered like a junction, right? It's a junction where I can take a determination whether I want to catch another flight to another destination or I want to catch a flight from where nobody comes back, which is the destination of a eternal world. Do I want to take that, right? That is our choice. Again, that's our choice. And these are things we will cover, right? What it means. But in this context, to answer your question, Apurv, yes, our boarding pass is our body. All right. I hope that makes sense.
And to add on the itinerary, to loop back into some of our previous classes would be your intelligence. Your intelligence will tell you what's good and bad for you. So then you can make the choices that will determine your next body. That's a good question.
Very good question. I'm loving it's generating a lot of yeah.
Did you have anything, Ethan? Otherwise, I can add the third question.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, how can we overcome our destiny?
I think this is a trick question. I don't know that you can.
That's interesting. It's a good. Well, why do you think that?
Well, I guess in my view of destiny is kind of like everything that happens is exactly what needed to happen. And things that can seem misfortunate in our lives, you can, at least in my experience, I found later, I can see why that exactly had happened that way for this other thing to occur. And I guess when I think of destiny, it's kind of like it's a force beyond somewhat our, I don't think, control, but it's not like, I don't know. I guess I have the kind of feeling that destiny in some way is sort of set out. Not to say that, you shouldn't do anything, because, even your actions and your free will is, in my view, part of that destiny. Like it's all pieces that come together, and your actions help reveal, what your future destiny is to be. That doesn't really make sense, but I don't know. That's all I have right now.
No, it makes sense, Ethan. I think, and please correct me if I'm wrong. What you're saying is that your destiny are the cards that you're dealt with based off of the actions or the reactions of your previous life, right? And so, can you actually?
This one also, I would say.
I'm sorry.
Maybe past lives or in this one also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And so, can you overcome that? And you're thinking, that's the question, right? And so, with destiny, that's exactly, it's the what are you going to enjoy based off of the good karmas that you've had in your previous lives? What distresses are you going to encounter in this life as well? So you're destined to encounter these distresses. You're destined to enjoy this enjoyment. But in the meantime, as you are going through life and having these destined, karmic reactions, is there something that you can do to overcome that? Let's not leave one life. Let's not think of one life. Can we overcome that in general? If you learn that your actions are the cause of these distresses and enjoyments, do you think you can overcome it?
So I guess in my mind, I'm viewing those as two separate questions. So I do believe you can overcome your past karmas through devotional practice, or at least that's what's taught. So to that, yes.
Okay. And then what's the second piece?
So I can let Upward go if you want. Raise your hand if you want to talk on this.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Approve. I didn't see your hand.
Oh no. The thought that I had, I forgot your question. The thought that I had was, forgot the phrasing that the video used, but I think it was action without expectation or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
But basically that, you should do your duty, but then don't expect the fruits.
Yes, that's a very good quote. So, the reason why we get karma is because there's a few reasons, but one reason is that you think that you're the doer, so you're doing these actions, right? And then by these actions, you're thinking, I deserve the consequences of my own actions, which causes the karma, right? But you are working in bhakti or Krishna consciousness, or practicing bhakti, then you are performing your work, but you're not desiring any type of fruits from your actions, which means that you're not thinking that you're doing this for the greater cause, you're doing this for the supreme, and then you're also not looking for any rewards for whatever actions you're doing, which means that it doesn't cause any reaction, no karma, which is the perfect situation. You don't want karma. You don't want good or bad. You want no karma. It's a good quote.
I have a follow-up to that, which to me, if it's really hard for me to like do an action and not expect anything and then motivate myself to do that action in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. That's very real. That's very honest. And that's, I mean, that's how this world is, you know. Everybody is raised on you know, if I work really hard, I'll get this. Or if you don't work at all, you don't get this, right? And but that's why there's frustrations, because you'll see somebody who doesn't do anything and they get everything. And you see somebody doing something extremely hard and they work, you know, hard their whole time and they don't get anything. And that's what causes confusion, bewilderment, and frustration. And so, you know, it is hard in the material world to not want some type of fruit for your actions. And in the Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna says is that if you are not able to abandon the desire to enjoy the fruits of your reactions, then you should be performing pious activities, because or karma kand. And so because if you're doing that, if you start doing that, then you'll end up purifying your heart so that you will be more attracted to doing things that are not for you know, the benefit of yourself all the time. So if you do things that are of pious activities, like if you're doing things that are good, then you will be more and more attracted to that idea. It'll purify your heart.
So yeah, if I can add, so yeah, so initially, yes, initially it seems that if I don't have a desire for the result, then how I'm going to be motivated to do the work which I'm doing. That's how we think. But think about the example of a mother. What desire she has when she's taking care of a newborn, right? Newly born mother of a newly born child. Her
It
desire is
it
not that.
it,
Go ahead, Apurva.
it makes her happy though, right? I would argue that
But so okay, where the happiness is coming from?
from within herself.
So no, so that's not I'm talking about. Let's say you are working it at Amazon, right? And you are saying that I will work for the happiness. But we so in that case, oh, I work for the happiness. That's good. But our desire, what we are talking about here in the result is, I want to earn $1 million, right? And for that, I'm going to work hard. So that's the result I'm looking for. But let's say now you dovetail that and say that, I've been put in a position to work at Amazon because I have to do some earning to sustain myself. So now I'm changing, okay, and why I'm working? To sustain myself and my family. Now, I can over endeavor, but now I'm saying that I am sustaining myself. And in the process, I'll do the work which is please going to be pleasing to my company, which is going to be pleasing to my co-worker, right? And which can be pleasing to my society. Now, so I'm changing my result oriented thing to the higher purpose, right? Is that a desire? We can say it's a desire, but in this case, I can take it further, which is Brie was actually not you mentioned, right? That you mentioned the Bhagavad Gita quote that you have the right to work, but you should not be doing it for the result, because the result is what will lead to misery, whether when you get it or not, right? But when I am working, that I am put in a position, I have to work and I follow the process. In that case, you won't be going through the misery of not having the result. You will be enjoying the process. And this is the example of the mother. Mother is happy because she's enjoying the process. For her, the result is whether my child grows up, whether the child is going to take care of me or not, right? Whether the child is going to love me or not. That is that can be result oriented. But in the case of the mother, you ask any mother, you check your our mother, right? We all have a mother, right? Or at least we had a mother. Um, our mother never thought that what she is going to get from us. She just took care of us because that's what is needed. The child needs to be protected, child needs to be taken care of, child needs to be given the love. In the process, she got the satisfaction, and that is what the concept of akarma is. Or I'll bring the first I'll bring the concept of nishkam karma yoga, which is the Bhagavad Gita text was talking about, which is do your work without expecting. When we do that, there will be a peace. And now if I take that work as a next step and I connect it with the supreme, that's time there will be a eternal happiness, right? So this is what, so the bhakti yoga concept, this is what it talks about. Initially it may seems a little difficult, but as we start practicing, it is very, very possible that you will be able to dovetail. And I'm telling you that through my experience, Bree is talking about through her experience. So we are both a practitioner, and it is very, very not very difficult to dovetail our result oriented desire to the duty bound desire, not result oriented, duty bound, just like a mother does.
Does that make sense?
I think mostly, yeah. I just need to reflect a little bit more. I think
Okay.
Jason has a question.
Yeah, Jason?
I was going to say, to the question, can we change our destiny? I don't know, I think it's exactly a trick question, but it's kind of tricky because our destination, like our destiny is our destination. And why would we want to change it? And I think it's talking about the destiny for this incarnation. I want to figure out as quickly and smoothly as I possibly can what is the destination and flow with it. Like, let's do this destination. But I personally believe I have three destinations. I have the one for this incarnation. I want to figure out what it is and go with it. And then there's another destination for all of my lives, which is to become like and unify with the Supreme, like become like the Supreme so I can just hang out with the Supreme and not keep getting born. And then there's another destination that I think I've chosen, which is trying to help everybody else get there so that we all get back there. And that takes lifetimes and lifetimes. But there's the three. There's the destiny for this life. There's the ultimate destiny for all my lives. And then there's this bonus round of trying to get my friends there as smoothly as possible.
I see.
And so it's tricky. Like, I don't think I want to change my destiny. I want to figure out what it is and get there.
I see. Well, and that's a good way to segue into this last one too, because it sounds like you have an idea of destiny, and so it's interesting that you have goals already for your spiritual practice. And so would you consider that, before I read the question, would you consider that success in overcoming your destiny? And then, so for you specifically, but then for everybody else also, what does success mean to you, and what is the secret to achieving success in your endeavors? And so for you, Jason, do you find that since you have an idea of, or a goal of what you're wanting to do, and you're on the path, um, do you find that as success versus overcoming? And then also, what does it mean to you? And, and what is your secret in achieving that?
Like in this lifetime, for me, success is figuring out what my destiny is in this life and doing it. And also trying to like do soul inquiry, figure out, hey, little soul, you little guy inside me that came from wherever you came from and made whatever decisions, what is it that you need in this lifetime to help you achieve these other two destinies that I think I have, which is getting to unify with the Supreme and getting everybody else there. You know, what is it in this life, little soul, that you're looking for? And I find I'm really careful to listening to myself. If I hear myself saying, oh man, I hate that, it means, oh, I'm really intrigued by that, or my soul, I think, is intrigued by that, but is intimidated or scared or feels unprepared. And so I like really poke into that. Like, you don't really hate that, because little soul, you don't hate anything. You're really good at liking things. And so if you're hating on something, it means you're intimidated. And so I really like lean into that. Or if I hear myself saying, oh, I really want to, but I'm not doing it, I'm like, hey, little soul, it seems like you really want to do something. Why am I not doing it? Why is big me or the me that's here in this life not doing it? What's up here? Because it sounds like there's an impediment to getting to my destiny, which I want. I want my destiny. I want to get there efficiently and happily with all my friends, you know, and while getting them to their destiny, whatever it is that their soul has chosen along with the Supreme for this incarnation. And I don't know if that fits in at all with what we're learning, but that's just kind of my own gig. That's how I do it.
No, I think it's really I think it's really important to have your perspective, and it's very valuable. Just because the way that you look at destiny, I think, is very interesting too, because you're seeing destiny as, at least how I hear it, as the end all be all. So like it's my destiny to go out and, you know, play with the Supreme, but then also bring other people there. Whereas I understand that the destiny is the results of karma that cause enjoyments or impediments in.
Not exactly. I think the destiny where this lesson's about is this life. What are we doing in this incarnation? What's our destiny? And I guess we can change it a little bit and change our next life, but I kind of don't want to. I want to figure out for this incarnation, what is my destiny, and how can I like be agreeable with it? Like, it's what I came here to do, apparently. So let's figure it out and do it.
It's really interesting too, just because it sounds like you already have the understanding of what, you know, at least in your context of destiny, what your destiny already is, which is to bring people back to the Supreme.
Maybe, yeah.
You know?
But I think there's like, I'm on this little sub journey right now in this life,
Yeah.
and it might be something like very specific to my little soul. Like on this one, I'm like learning patience, or, you know, like my main destiny in this life is these 6 things. Like, it's I'm really supposed to go to Rio de Janeiro in this life, and why does my soul and Krishna, why have I set myself up to go to this place on this flight, and how do I make the flight fun and help everybody else? You know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't think my destiny in this life is to go hang out with Krishna for the rest of my life. I think this is one of many lives. I think I'm going to get a lot more, and so I want to figure out what's the destiny for this life. And it's not to unify with Krishna, because I don't think I'm ready, nor do I want to. I'm having fun with these incarnations, but I think my soul yearns to be there eventually. But my destiny for this life is something I'm figuring out. I don't exactly know what it is, but I'm always asking my soul, like, what's up? Where are we going? What is this life about?
Hey, you know, I think
And I
that
ask my family that, like, not in my own head. I'm like, why do I have the parents I have? What is this setup about for me? Like, what is going on here? And what should I be doing?
these are good questions to ask. It really is. And so I hope that you continue to ask. And I think if you do continue to ask, you'll definitely find what you're looking for. And I think, you know, you'll be very happy for sure. Absolutely. What about you, Approve and Ethan? What do you think?
Oh, go ahead, Ethan.
Dang, I was going to say you go ahead. But okay. I guess heading on to that, I think maybe my conception of destiny also may be slightly different. I don't want to get too caught up in like definitions of one another, but I kind of see, whether you do or do not resolve or purify past karmas, that in and of itself is part of your destiny. And I guess I feel like on a long enough time frame, I would hope that we're all destined to reuniting with, the source of all life and consciousness. And whether we do or do not know what that destiny, like, how do I say this?
Yeah.
And it's like, I personally wouldn't feel the need to know what is my destiny in this life, because I feel like every waking moment is that destiny revealing itself to you. Yeah, that's all I have presently.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's one day at a time, sometimes even 1 minute at a time, that we have to, be conscious of, what we're doing and how that can interact with where we're heading. So it's a good point. What about you? What do you feel?
I was just thinking about the question that was posted, like what success means to me, and based on some initial reflection, I think to me it's like how calm / peaceful I am. I think that's my like main metric defining success, right? Sometimes I'm like launching a new product at work. The less fires that I have to put out during launch, that means a successful launch, right? If I was going on a trip, like if I didn't have to make too many last minute changes, that to me is a successful trip.
Okay.
Right, and kind of expanding that to life, I think that's also something I would define like a successful life to be, right? Like how the happy moments and like my peaceful moments throughout life and how they were. But what the secret to achieving that is, I don't know.
Okay. No, I really like that, determining how you're reacting to things, right? Because you could be something could be happening, and it could be conceived as not the best, but you could be even head, and peaceful in it, and then really good things could be happening, and you could be even head and peaceful and like really steady. I think that is a really big testament on you're practicing something that's causing you to have it, for sure. That's
Yeah, and I feel like maybe I was answering the wrong question still. But I can also respond to the newest question in terms of success. Is that still relevant?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I guess when I was younger, I would think more of success as like financial success, and I guess for me nowadays, the thing that would mean success to me is just not letting my life be driven by my desires anymore. And I guess the secret to achieving that success is to me that following the spiritual path.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's it's a good reflection to have when you're in the everyday, and you hear so many people, and that's what they're looking for, like they're looking for some type of something. And when you can step back in that and look more internal, I think that's when your path to finding yourself really starts. And I think you'll find a peace that's within you that you wouldn't have conceived when you're in that everyday hustle and bustle of, trying to make a whole bunch of money and find success in material things. And so, very good insights from all of you. Did you have anything else to share, Deepak? I know I've gone over time. I've done that ranting thing again, and so.
No, yeah, yeah, definitely it went over time, but I think everybody's involved. So, so I'll just add a little bit. You know, this I heard something, right? The success, what the success means in the material world, right? The success for the child who is like 5 year or 3 year is not able to pee in the pant. right? And then you grow up, become a student. Then success is finding opposite gender. Then later the success is going and finding a job, earning money. And then um, later, like long story short, then again when you become 80, again the success is not able to pee in the pant, right? So the success from the material world can be very relative, but here what I loved, what Ethan is telling, he's thinking the long term, the success, the spiritual path. Why do I need to take birth again and again? Is that what I want? So that's the question, right? Some people would like to live and have many life because see, but we have to realize that when we are taking birth, it comes with a package of misery and so-called happiness. The philosophy book of philosophy says that the so-called happiness is very flickering compared to the happiness what one will get in the eternal world when one is with the supreme, right? So but again, we have the desire. Based on our desire, so what we learned this topic is, if we have the desire and we are creating karma, then we will be getting a new body and we will be living the next life and next life, until and unless we say that, I'm done with it. I want to have eternal life. What is the thing I can do? And the bhakti yoga principle, there is no other yoga practice which can change. So the question was, can you change the destiny, right? And the destiny, I'll just give you some example. It can go long, but I'll just destiny. You see, you might have heard the word astrology or palmistry. These are the signs, right? People, if you look into palmistry, palm reading, they do the palm reading, astrology. They say that your destination, you will have 2 kids, you will die at 80-year-old, your wife is going to leave you, you are going to have 2 marriages. So the destiny comes with the some check boxes. And if we are just living a materialistic life, those are the things I'm going to get in my life. But if we choose the path, right, of bhakti, right, where we start thinking higher level, what is the principle, how I can connect with my work, with the supreme, that's the time my destiny, the what I'm going to get in my life start changing. Because the supreme, now I'm submitting to the way the science works, I'm submitting to the supreme, right? And when I'm submitting to the supreme, then he's creating all the rules, so he just makes sure that those rules are our destiny. If it was to take the birth again, like a birth of a human, or like a man or a woman or an animal, whatever my destiny was before, because I changed the way what I was doing, then my destiny can change. For most of the people who are materialistic, the destiny will continue and I'll get the other life. But the practitioners of the bhakti yoga, their destination can be changed. And this is what the book says, that how this can happen. And a lot of people, there's a real life example which says how they are able to, within this life, if one wants, they can go back to Godhead. All right. Anything else, my dear friends, before we end the session for today?
Yeah, quick question. Is there a kirtan tomorrow?
Okay, so Kirtan, yes, there is a Kirtan
Yeah,
tomorrow.
in person.
Yes, in
Okay.
person. Yes, yes. And the
Yeah.
plan is, if the weather allows, then we will be doing outside. But you have to come to the Bhakti studio directly. And from there, we will take the walk to the park and we'll do it outside just like we did last time. If the weather is not great, then we will do indoors. Okay.
Are
So
all of us
yes,
here going there tomorrow?
pardon me, sorry.
Are all of us here going there tomorrow?
I am going.
Wish. I
Yeah.
wish.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
not? Dang, that's really what I was asking, because I like hearing you sing.
Kind.
Yeah.
I definitely.
You can't go tomorrow?
Yeah.
We'll miss you.
But I'll go. One time we'll have to arrange that.
Okay, good.
Right.
That's it. That's really for me. Sorry I talked so much tonight. I don't know why I was so chatty.
No,
This
no,
is
this was amazing. This was very conversational. This is exactly what these sessions are intended for. And you guys were asking good question. Bree was doing a wonderful job making sure everything is taken care of. So it was amazing. One of the best session, I think. Of course, it went long because there was so much of conversation, but one of the best session. Very satisfying.
Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah.
keep
All
doing
right,
it.
folks. Thank you. So we will meet next week for the last session of the series, and then we'll talk about the next series. Okay, next exciting series we'll also talk about. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Jason, Apurv, and Ethan. Wonderful.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much, you guys. Bye.
Bye.